Alright, well, it's time to do a little bit of a review on the Hawk 250. I'm out for a ride right now, and to say that I'm enjoying this new bike would be an understatement. I mean, for the money, probably some of the best money I've ever spent on a toy. If you've watched my other videos, you've seen I've made pretty much all the standard upgrades that you need to make on a Hawk, including the 17-tooth front sprocket, 45-tooth rear sprocket, the carburetor. I upgraded the battery cables, installed the aftermarket digital tag or digital speedometer with the tachometer. This bike is great. It is lacking a little bit of power, but the good thing about it is, especially for new riders, there's not so much power that's definitely not going to get away from you. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can mess up and hurt yourself, obviously, but it's kind of a little safety blanket. It is a beautiful day. It's about 75 degrees, low humidity, and sunny. I'm just going to take it out for a little country drive. Maybe some of you who are contemplating buying this bike, watch this video and it'll help you make up your mind. I would say I do a 0 to 60 time, but the top speed on the bike on a straight and level road is only about 65 miles an hour, so it's a 0 to 60 in forever. But it does get like 0 to 40 very fast. Well, I guess that's a relative term. Compared to other motorcycles, probably not very fast, but I'll put it this way, you're not going to be holding up traffic. And if you are in the hills and the curvy roads, even if going uphill where you lose some speed, you're not really going to be holding up traffic unless there's like a supercar behind you. With the 17-tooth and 45-tooth sprocket, you can easily cruise at 55 miles an hour. Now where I live, that's the speed limit on all the country roads. Definitely wouldn't want to take this on the highway. Got about 500 miles on this now. By far the best upgrade I've made has been the Shinko 700 tires. It made a huge difference. With the knobbies that came on the Hawk stock, on paved roads like this, they became pretty squirrely. And if there was any bit of water on the road, or if it had rained recently, even if the road was dry, if you hit the brakes, it would very quickly lock up and want to lose control. With these new tires, I haven't done a lot of driving in water or anything, but they handle the road much better. And they still do really, really, really good in gravel and dirt. Mud, not so much. They kind of clog up and take a little while to get everything cleaned out of them, but I try to avoid the mud. Going on here. One other thing, when I upgraded the speedometer, I noticed that it was still a little bit off. calibrated for the 21-inch top front wheel that I had. And it came that way. But then I found on China Riders a suggestion to change the tire size to 19, which is kind of odd since it's a 21-inch tire, but I changed it to 19 and it did work. Now the speedometer is like dead accurate. I mean, it's hard to match it up to GPS, but I mean, we're talking, if it's off, it's like not even 1 mile an hour. But this thing, it's pretty much out of steam after like 6,500 RPMs. I'm not taking it up to 8, and it still pulls a little bit, but the power band really is like 5,500 or 6,000 RPMs. And I've got, you know, an aftermarket spark plug, and I've got an aftermarket air filter, which that made a huge difference. I ended up getting rid of the foam oiled uni filter, and I went to more like a K&N style pleated filter with the wire mesh. That made a huge difference. And I always put links to other parts that I used in the description below. That really helped. Mainly I noticed at the higher RPMs. These roads go from just dirt to pavement, back to dirt. So I like it though. Feels new. That's something you gotta get used to when you buy one of these, getting chased by dogs. And then another thing I noticed about my bike, it likes to idle more. It says 1500 RPM in the specifications, but when I try to set it at that, it usually stalls a lot. So I keep it up between 1500 and 2000, or like 1750 or so, and that works out real good. Never have any problems. So real loose gravel like this, it feels squirrely under the rear tire, but it's not. So it's not that fast. It sounds fast. So I'm definitely not an expert when it comes to dual sport bikes or adventure bikes or anything like that. I did a lot of riding when I was younger, and it was a sport bike and then a cruiser. Never rode dirt bikes when I was younger or anything like that. I just thought, I live out in the rural area would be kind of a fun way to get back into it since there's a lot of roads like this out here. And I could see myself maybe someday wanting a little more power, but it really, so far, I'm good. You can always want more, but I've been good so far. Because I thought about, you know, even like a Honda CRF 250L, but from everything I can see, it's really not worth the upgrade over this. I'd probably be happier with like a DRZ 400 or something. Crazy, like an Africa, like the new Honda Africa Twin. It's obviously a whole other level. If you're serious about like a cross-country adventure bike. You definitely don't get any of the bells and whistles on a Hawk 250. There's no ABS or anything like that. But you can make it whatever you want. It's easy to work on. Even if you don't know a whole lot about mechanics, you'll learn. As long as you have some mechanic ability, this bike is easy to work on. And it's got a pretty bulletproof engine since they stole it from a Honda CG. Once you get it dialed in, like this, it's so much fun. I never touch the choke. It doesn't matter. If it was real cold out, maybe, but I'm not going to ride it when it's that cold. Never have to mess with the choke. Fires right up. Never stalls. You got the idle set right. My jetting is I have the 110 in the aftermarket, you know, Mikuni VM clone carburetor. Right now here you can go all day, not have a car behind you. It does feel very, like this is a gravel road here, dirt gravel, and even at 50 miles an hour, very confidence inspiring. I haven't done anything. I haven't even changed the fork oil on this. Be a little bit better changing the fork oil, but suspension's not horrible. Kind of just depends on how much you weigh and all those factors. Now, one thing I will say, I mean, I went for the bottom dollar initial investment. That's why I got the Hawk. I was seriously considering the CSC TT250, and it was a lot more expensive. They make it sound like it's only just a little over $2,000, but once you add on, they have like a $500 or $400 import and assembly fee. But it does come with quite a bit of upgrades. By the time, you know, I was said and done fixing this up, I probably could have bought a TT250, but I had more fun with this, and it's just as reliable. It does have a counterbalanced engine, and the Hawk doesn't, but it still vibrates too, you know, up with the handlebars, and this one is not that bad, especially this type of riding. It gets a little buzzy up at, you know, when you're maxed out at like 60 miles an hour. But the way I have it geared, not so much, and it's almost the same thing as a CSC. All the parts in the CSC pretty much fit the Hawk. That's where I buy any parts when I need it, is from CSC actually, because they have stuff in stock and they ship it to you quick, and it's really inexpensive. In fact, the exhaust cover that I just bought from CSC really isn't a Hawk exhaust cover, because they don't even have a silver one on the CSC bikes, and that's all they had in stock. So, and they called to say, hey, all we have is silver, and I was like, well, perfect, because that's exactly what I need. So it's kind of funny. When I talked to them before, they claimed they didn't know anything about the Hawk and weren't sure how similar they were. I mean, I know they probably saying that because they're trying to discourage you from even saying the word Hawk because they want you to buy their bike. But they are in California, and you can't even buy a Hawk in California because of their draconian emissions laws. Even though this thing comes with a catalytic converter and all that stuff, and it's lean as hell. Miss second gear. Makes a great first bike, I'd say, if you've never ridden before, because it's not too much power. It's pretty easy to work on, easy to ride. I do recommend taking a motorcycle course, especially if your state offers one. In a lot of states, like here in Ohio, if you take the course, they give you your endorsement. So here in Ohio, you take a written TEMS test for your motorcycle endorsement. And if you go to their motorcycle class, it's like $50, and you can get it done in a couple days on a weekend. When you're done with the course, as long as you pass, they give you your endorsement, so you don't have to go take the actual test. It's kind of like your incentive to take the class. But it is very basic, and it is for beginners. They say the only prerequisite is you should know how to ride a bicycle. That's the way to go. Don't put too much money into it. That way, if you need to get out of it, you can. You don't lose a bunch of money with the Hawk. Most people are selling them at the least for what they paid for them, but in most cases more, because you've upgraded it, you've assembled it, low miles, you've got a title on it already, usually. That saves people a ton of work. I would definitely buy one of these used with low miles over buying a new one, because buying a new one, you gotta send off to get the certificate of origin, pay all the taxes and fees, get the title. And if I get tired of this, want a new one, and decide I don't want to keep this, I'll get most of my money back out of it for sure. I see them on Craigslist all the time for more than the new price, and they sell. Just because you can get it now and it's cheap, and most people have 1,000 or 2 lying around. Or they can get it relatively quick. You don't have to go get a loan if they're in the market for a motorcycle like this. Alright, we're going to get out on a bigger road here. Try to max it out for you so you can see. You're definitely comfortable driving out here on these country roads without worrying about holding up traffic. Creepy little town. Pulls up to almost 8,000 RPMs. Really need that 6th gear. I don't know how many times I'm just trying to shift for 6th gear that's not there. Alright, well I think I'm gonna end the video here, but just wanted to do a little riding around, talk about the Hawk. What I think about it. Things will break on it. It does have some cheap parts. I already had to replace the brake light switch. If you saw my other videos, right from the beginning I had to replace the rubber intake because it was defective from the factory. Little things like that. If you're kind of mechanically inclined, you can upgrade the parts and make it better. Overall, it's a pretty solid foundation though. Definitely feels safe, it feels sturdy, runs good, so I definitely recommend it, especially for the money. So leave a comment below if you have a question or just a comment. Let me know if you get one, if you like it. Be sure to like the video and subscribe for more, and we'll see you next time.